Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today my guest is Rob Cook. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I love to have you here because today we are going to talk about um, a very good topic, like a lot of people talk about, and that's trauma. And trauma, I see trauma like you can have something happen to you, and uh, and you are still there in your thinking um, and are in that moment when the bad thing happened, and feeling that year after year after year. Or you can have a small trauma going like this, and I feel like everyone got trauma in their life, but it's a little different how big and small they are, but they're still trauma.
Yeah.
So I say welcome to you, Rob, and you got to speak with this subject because I know you can bring a lot to people with what you know. So welcome.
Man, so thank you again. Thank you for having me. And you're absolutely right. When most people tend to think about trauma, they go right back to the incident and things like that. And I think that was the distinction I wanted when coming out with the Life After Trauma program. Like I wanted the name to even spark the idea that there was something after stopping your life in time after a traumatic experience. Like to be open to the idea that healing was possible, that you could drop the fear and drop the anxiety. And and I was very, very kind of distinct in that because I myself got caught up in the trauma or in the stories or in the narratives for so many years. And it's like the biggest thing I found most helpful with this life after trauma is identifying two things: where there's an assumption or where there's an attachment. And if I could do those two, I tend to navigate a lot more smoothly through experiences. Um, what I mean by that is I used to identify, meaning I would introduce myself as, "Hi, I'm Rob, I'm a veteran with PTSD."
Mm.
What? Like what?
Mm. A lot of
That's
people do.
Yeah, but that's not who I am. But when I believe that, that was my experience. That's the kind of life I had with the narrative of facing the things that I faced, whether it was my inner city upbringing, where I again had seen a dead body well before I joined the military, had shot a gun and been shot at well before I joined the military. So there were experiences there as a kid. Um, the military obviously had been deployed, been in combat zones before, so you have those there. Um, been through things like car accidents, going off a cliff, or losing a tire in the middle of a 5-lane highway. And all of those experiences happened for real. They did. And I noticed when I could drop the attachment to what they meant or what I needed to do or any fear I had or the assumption that it was going to continue happening because it happened this one time, things got a lot better. And the other point that I would make, kind of to what you said, is I do believe also that every person goes through trauma. And because of that belief, I stopped caring if it was a little bit or a bit, if it was significant or not, in my eyes, because it was significant enough to that person. So I got out of trying to qualify someone's trauma, trying to quantify, because that's its own identification process as well. Well, you should be over that right now because it wasn't that big of a deal. How do you know how big of a deal it was to me? You would have to know everything about my life to make that type of assumption. The assumption that we have to move past it in a time frame. That's not true either. That's not true. Then all those things really just held me back. And finding out the truth of who I am was like, first just shambled the game, where my identity stemmed from knowing that I am the creative energy of life. From there, I've experienced traumatic things that now don't hold the intensity over me that I could talk to you about on your YouTube channel in hopes to help someone else. So that's kind of how I see it, you know, and how I feel about it now. Yeah.
So if I can't come over it, if I'm stuck in it,
Mm-hmm.
what do you say to your clients then?
Well, I'll say a few things. I'll say I'll just say what I've said when I have been asked about it. One client recently, most recently, had a fear about entering into new spaces and, you know, getting new friends because she had had a traumatic experience with an older adult as a kid. And so we were walking, and I had a water bottle while she was talking about how real this fear was, and how it stops her from doing things and things like that. And I don't know why, Cecilia, but it occurred to me to hit her with my water bottle. So I tap her on the shoulder with my water bottle, and she goes, "What'd you do that for?" And I was like, "Because this water bottle is real. I want you to tap me, though, on the shoulder with your fear of new people. Go ahead, hit me with it. I'll wait." And she just sat there like, "What do you mean?" I said, "You said it was real. So if it's real, and if it is a barrier that's stopping you, then I should be able to feel it too. Just like I felt like you felt the water bottle, here's the water bottle. Hit me with it. I feel the water bottle. The water bottle is real. Hit me with your fear. I'm waiting. Swing it at me." And she kind of was getting it, and you could probably tell I'm silly. So I was like, I was like, "You feel that? Because that's my fear. You feel that? I just hit you with it." And she was like, "I don't feel anything." I was like, "Yeah, it's invisible." So the only way, or what we're talking about when we say move through, or get past, or going to take a long time to dissolve, what we're really talking about is letting go the attachment of it. That it happened to me. It should have never happened to me. This was horrible. All the kind of things that come in our mind of trying to protect ourselves after we've experienced traumatic things. But they're invisible thoughts. If me and you right now, you're in your home safe, there is no gun to your head as we record this interview. So you're safe. If you're safe, when you talk to me about your trauma, it should feel different because you're telling me from a safe space. If you tell me your trauma in that safe space with the same intensity as if you were there, then that's a telltale sign for me. Oh, see, we're in thought world there. Because what's real about your life is you're safe. So that story should not be the same if you're in a safe environment, because you're retelling it. It's not happening. And so it's the caught in thought of the memory of it, which makes perfect sense. That was the other thing I didn't understand. I didn't understand why I was numb. I didn't understand why I drink so much and so fast, so quick. I didn't understand those, and I thought those were the problem. And those were the things that was actually protecting me most, because the numbness, I did deal with all my feelings, because I don't know what would have happened if I really had to deal with all my feelings. Coming from the space of thinking I was broken and losing everything in my life, it was just dark. So being numb gave me peace of mind some days to not have to deal with the dark. The drinking immediately stopped my dark thoughts. I got happy when I drank. I wanted to dance, you know? And I love music and dancing now without the alcohol, because I could see clearly what I was trying to do. I was just trying to stop my thinking. So I could stop my thinking by playing with my keyboard now without a problem at all. And then if I have a drink with friends, I just have a drink with friends. It's not anything to do with my trauma alcohol now, you know, or things like that. So really, I just see it so differently now. Having dropped the pack off my back, you know, like I just put an article in a magazine that talked about the rucksack for a military member. And the rucksack is the backpack that you carry with all your essentials for your mission. Like everything you need to survive is in that pack. But that pack comes with a quick release strap, which means that even sometimes carrying all the essentials of life can weigh you down, given the clear and present danger in front of you. So you pull the strap in that pack again with all of the things you need for your mission. Think about that. For your life. You have a release button that says, even carrying this load sometimes may be too much. And that pack immediately drops, allowing the soldiers to move much faster out of danger. That's the same thing in life. We've gotten so accustomed to carrying these things in our pack that we've failed to pull the quick release strap so we can really thrive and move in life. It's almost like we're carrying around, think about this, an invisible 100-pound plate on our back. We feel the weight of it, but it's invisible.
Yeah. But since I'm going to understand the inside and out and going deeper in myself, I can see that all problems that I see on the outside, it's how I feel here in the inside. It's really like we can have the same experience, the same problem, the same trauma, and I react on how I feel from the inside, how I take it, how it comes to me, and how sad I will be about it, or angry, or how the feelings starts in me. It's where I am in my consciousness and thinking, and I have really seen that more and more, that now I see life like, oh, this experience like a bigger problem than it really is. But it looks like this in this moment, but maybe it's not that bad. It looks really bad when you are in a low mood. Experience.
They look scary. You know, the low mood allows the noise volume to go up. Like the lower your mood, the higher your noise volume is in your head. Your thoughts speed up. Again, because you're in a low mood. And so given that the mind is the brain, I'll say it this way, the brain's primary purpose is survival. It's always thinking survival. Survival. So when low mood happens, those sped up thoughts are the high volume from survival. And so survival is over analyzing relationships. Survival is doing all these things that tense us, cause us not to be ourselves, close off our experience of life, and then drives us into more low moods.
And it looks like everyone is out after me. They want to, why is everyone after me?
You know, I love that you said that. You know why? You know why.
Yeah, I know why.
We're the ones creating it. That's why. Yes. Yeah,
I know
that's the
I'm the
telltale
producer
sign
and
right there.
the filmmaker and everything.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that you are that producer, and you got that movie going on in your own mind. And I didn't know that before. I
Yeah,
thought
me
it
either.
was only other people.
Yeah, yeah, me either. I really did. I really didn't think I had no clue. But I guess in a sense, if you think about it, it's so easy and simple to understand because you brought up movie theaters. Let's say me and you go to the movies, right? Cecilia, we're gonna go to the movies and we go into a scary movie. Now, I'm not one to watch a scary movie. I'm more of a Marvel superhero guy myself. Okay, but we're gonna watch a scared movie together, right? And in the movie theater, we get scared. My popcorn flies up, your soda hits the ground, right? What happened that we forgot that those were actors, that nobody was really harmed while making it? We bought tickets to come in and watch it. We drove here knowing it was a scary movie. And we knew it was a movie. Like, how did we forget
I
all
run
of that
away. I run away.
and get scared from the movie?
Yeah, yeah,
Right? That's the same thing in life. Like,
yeah,
wait a minute. You're forgetting a bunch of things to scare yourself with that. You're
yeah,
forgetting the truth about who you are. If that is scaring you,
yeah.
you had to forget that, because if you know the truth of who you are, that can't be the film. It can't. It just doesn't work that way.
But most people think like this. I didn't think. I feel this. I feel this. But I didn't think. You say that it's a thought, but I didn't think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard that all the time, and it can looks like that. That I didn't have the time to think those kind of. I get so scared, and it came right ahead.
Mhm.
I didn't think about that.
Well, some thoughts are unconscious. You don't think about digesting your food, but it happens. Like, you don't think about going to the bathroom until you're told it's time to go.
Hmm.
Some thoughts are unconscious. Cool.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking about expanding conscious levels, so some things I won't
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Some thoughts are just unconscious.
No, we do a lot of things. We take a coffee, drink a,
Yeah, all
or
of that. At
everything we
some
do.
point,
We
you're
do a lot of things
driving.
we don't
Yeah,
know.
at some point, you pay close attention to steering wheel, this, and now you could probably put on makeup and drive and text somebody all at the same time if you wanted to, right? When that consciousness is spanned, you begin to see more. And so, yeah, there are just some things. That's where the overwhelming feeling comes in, because it's happening so fast. People feel like they don't have a choice, but it is always a choice. It's not set up that way. When we slow down to the speed of life, though, then I could see the choice. I could see me creating it. I could see what's actually happening. But if I'm moving very fastly in my thinking, that's hard to see or hear.
And that's why I think we want to drink and take drugs and things, because we want to step back from that. We want it to slow down.
Mhm.
It happens so many things so fast, and oh, I just want to calm down
Yeah,
and take a pause from that.
yeah.
So I have
Which
something, a
makes
wine or
perfect sense. That
yeah,
makes perfect sense,
yeah,
because
it
it
does.
sucks going through the other stuff.
Mm.
It sucks going through that stuff. It's not fun being in a dark place in a low mood with 1,000 thoughts a day, especially if some of them are suicidal for people, if some of them are depressive in nature, some of them are so harsh that, they just can't even function. That sucks. Man, it does. So I can get how, if a bottle gives you some relief in that, why you would choose the bottle. I get that. The problem was for me when I chose the bottle, I didn't see it wasn't the bottle. Right? The moment I drunk, what actually changed my mood was a new thought, not drinking. It just happened while I was drinking.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? When I stopped dreaming, guess what happened? A new thought came also. So it wasn't the drinking that caused it. It was just I had a new thought. But most people, again, because we're moving so fast, you miss that and you attach new thought to that action. So I just do this action for my happy moment, which is excessive drink. A CEO would do it in their work. But being at the office 18 hours a day and missing birthdays and family time is just as detrimental to your health as drinking alcohol every day.
No. And then most people go around all day and thinking all this about this trauma. They're waking up in the middle of the night and they can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And they just wake up like this, and then it comes. And it feels like I didn't think about this. I just woke up and there was the dream. And the trauma was, when I was at the retreat center, there was a man, he woke up every night and he was, his father did sexual, what do you call it? He raped him when he was little.
Okay. When he was a kid, okay.
Yeah, and every night he had this dream over and over and over again. He didn't come through it. He was in that all night.
Mm-hmm.
How do you point when people talk to you about these horrible situations in the night?
I stumble. I stumble with a few things. I try to balance a few things. One is a safe space when they're talking to me. Just letting them be, without any pretense to whatever their trauma is. Second thing I try to do is really just see their humanity and just love them. Like, again, not even at the point that I'm even dealing with the trauma yet. This is just based off the person that, is in front of me. And when I get to the trauma, I'm usually pointing to one or two things. Is that an assumption or is that an attachment, with it? And what I mean by that, the attachment thing, a better way to explain it. This has been one of the most helpful pieces of content that someone has put out that just hit me in a totally different way. But it's the gentleman describes 5 levels of attachment. And so if we were to he uses a sports analogy, and he says, so if you were to go to a soccer game and you did not care who won, that would be level 0, no attachment. You just at the soccer game. He said level 1 would be when you have a preference for which soccer team wins. Oh man, I really wish they would win. Okay, they did, no problem. Continue, life is normal. Next level is identification, where you identify as a fan of that team now. So you talk about it, you dress in that way, you hang out with other fans of that club. But being a fan says nothing about who you are as a human being. Next level is internalization. When my team loses, I have a bad day. When my team loses, my wife can't talk to me. My kids know to leave me alone, don't come around me, right? He says that's internalization of this attachment. Now it's inside of you and now it's coming out. Like your family can't even be around you because your team lost. You don't play for the team. You have no legal standing with the team. You don't get a check from them, nothing. This is something you created from an attachment to that team. And he said the last one is fanaticism. When everything about your life is just about this team. Those are the people who wake up and dress up in all the different costumes to go to the game. and they do all the stuff for the team. They dream about the team. They name their kids after players on the team, like those kind of fans, right? And he talks about this guy who was one of those type of fans, who was the shuttle bus driver at the stadium. And he was so angry his team lost that he drove the bus into the crowd that was standing with the with the opposite team jerseys cheering. Like, that's way over the edge of an attachment to something. So when he was teaching that, though, I couldn't hear sports, because I like my teams, but but I heard trauma quick. And so then if I look at the levels of attachment that I had to my trauma, at one point I was a fanatic about it. I had to tell you I had it. I needed you to know, because my behaviors are stemmed from it, and this and that and all. Like, I needed this to lead, because this would explain why I'm broken. And then started seeing a little bit more. I came down to internalizing, like, okay, wait. Then it came back down to, okay, I just tell people that. Now it's pretty much, I'm at a stage with trauma of preference. I prefer to talk about it more than anything else. That's it, though. It's not part of my identity. If you want to put me on stage and talk about football, the American sport, I'm in. You want to put me on stage, talk about kids, I'm in. Like, but I have a preference for talking about trauma, because it holds a lot of people in place in their life. And I just would like them to see that they could thrive and live. And not saying everything is perfect. Again, not saying things don't happen, but living from a space of abundance in your spirit, where when it happens, you're in the best position, or the best version of yourself possible, to deal with it.
Yeah, when you can see who you are.
Yeah.
So you can come back, even if you experience all kinds of difficult things. You can, that you can come back to who you are.
Yep.
And then you need to know who you are, because most of the people don't.
No, they don't. You're right. But it is much easier, which is why listening is so important also, where everybody, because it's true, everybody's experienced it. They've just forgotten. I just got to listen long enough to, when they do remember a time where they were home, and draw the connection, then I could find them. It's kind of like a beacon light in a field. You're looking for, it's like, it's dark out here. Oh, there's the beacon light, the signal for help. I could see it now, because once I can point to, as we talk about, the beautiful feeling, the feeling of home, the place of no loss, when I can point to that, it's much easier to talk about it, because I have a reference point with them, than trying to make it up when they don't have a reference point for what the hell I'm talking about. It's like, what, dude? That ain't even, because I didn't even think some of this stuff was possible. But matter of fact, oh, you can't see it. So I have a tattoo, a scripture tattoo right here from the Bible. Cecilia, I didn't believe unconditional love was real. So I put the scripture on my body, but changed the word love to loyalty, to make it fit me, right? Now, I know for a fact now that unconditional love is real, but I won't cross out the tattoo, because it reminds me of the lack of consciousness I had then. That's all. It continues to remind me I'm growing.
You can put love
underneath, yeah, something like that. But that's just my point. Like,
yeah.
you couldn't have gotten me to say nothing about love when I had this tattoo, because I didn't think it was real. So trying to talk to somebody through their trauma or something, if you haven't gotten a reference point of them knowing at least the last moment they felt safe. Tell me the last moment, man, you felt safe. And wait till they find it. Because if they find it, it's a beacon light. It starts blinking to you. And then you can navigate them back home. At least for me, that's how it seems.
But because of what you're pointing to now with this, you can also understand when people are up in whatever they are up in and, and can't come home. And I feel that too, that what you say, kindness, or you have compassion for those who can't see, and they don't want to hear that. It's very simple. It's just a thought.
I mean, because that feels dismissive to them, is why they can't accept. Because again, they haven't made the correlation to thought as we who do know what thought is have. So it's like talking different values. So of course they wouldn't listen to it. But
no, you need to go a little bit deeper, and we have done that. We have done that. Both you even more than I. But we have been listen and started to hear something whispering inside here, and then we could feel deeper that oh, this is who I am.
You said something that I just wrote last night. Like, I want to read it if it's okay with you. Because
go ahead.
I'm gonna release it here soon. I'll probably do some more work to it or whatever, but it's exactly what you're saying. So the title of it is "Why So Many Tattoos? 3 Things I Learned from a Very Loud Cry for Help." It was about 10 a.m. and already a great day. I'd finished my workout and ran my errands and was feeling good. I was standing in line to send a package at the local FedEx office. As my transaction began, I could hear the gentleman behind me expressing annoyance with the number of tattoos I had. So much so that he decided to finally ask, "Why so many tattoos?" I'd say nothing and attempt to continue my transaction. He repeats it. By now, the gentleman and woman behind him seem offended. The clerk seems tense. And here I was standing, still not answering. As I turned to speak with very evil intentions because I had had enough, I couldn't think of anything sarcastic or anything threatening to say, because at that moment, the loudest thought I probably heard in a long time came through, and it said, "Tell him the truth." Before I knew it, truth vomit. I said to the gentleman, "The tattoos are because I always feared waking up one day and not knowing who I was. Having a family history of dementia, it made sense to me to put my parts of my life on my body. So I started pointing to the essential points of my life. For instance, here's my kid's birthday. This is my favorite scripture. This is one of my favorite tattoos, even though I don't believe it anymore." The gentleman's face turned bright red. He started questioning me even harder. Seriously, like he was screaming at me at this point. "How did you know to say that to me?" Completely lost by the entire encounter, I say to him, "I'm not sure what you mean, sir." He explains that his wife of 50 plus years, who was in the car, sometimes wakes up and does not know who he is. There's nothing the doctors think they can do. And so he's left with every day wondering how he's going to let go of a love he's had over 50 years. I witnessed for the first time seeing beneath the words. Here's what I mean. His questions, his behavior. He wasn't upset with me. He was overwhelmed and he was scared. And I could see it. So it was very weird to have a violent thought. It didn't make sense at this point to have evil intentions. All I could do was see that the gentleman was overwhelmed. I gave him the business card. I offered to have a conversation. I said I could just listen to help you relieve some of that pressure. His demeanor adjusted immediately. His face now appeared somewhat in disbelief. you would do that for me? Yes, I will, because someone did it for me. It was the first time I saw with clarity what a cry for help looks like. After settling down after a counter, I learned 3 things. We're all human. We all get scared. We all get overwhelmed. 2, when that happens, I should be kind to myself and to others. Have compassion and know that if it's happening to me, it's happening to them because we're the same. 3, if everyone can see that we're all in some way crying for help, it won't make sense to do some of the things we do to each other as humans. I hope we listen better. I hope we tell the truth, and I hope we spark healing.
It touched me. Thank you so much sharing that.
Yeah.
We are all human, trying to do our best here.
Mhm. I don't know about you, Cecilia, but I think that's a good place to leave people thinking.
Thank you so much, Rob. And I hope that we can connect again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. And yeah, I send an open invite for you to come on to the podcast, and I get to hear more about your story and how you show up.
I sure will.
All right. Thank you very, very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.